It's Thursday, October 9th. I'm Adam Walsh. This is The Signal. We've been doing panels on election issues for a few weeks now, and today in this rapidly aging province of ours, we are focusing on issues that matter to our seniors. Full house, loads of folks with input, and right across the province for the show. I don't know if you caught the leaders' debate on CBC TV or radio or streaming last night, but the issue of seniors did come up. We've got a little a clip of the three leaders talking about stuff. Let's give it a whirl.
If we truly believe that home care is part of health care, then we will put the resources in place to make it happen so our home care workers feel valued and part of the healthcare system. And the other part of this is making sure that seniors can afford to stay in their own homes.
If you want to have workers, people to age well in home, anyone with disabilities otherwise, then you've got to make sure that the workers themselves are fairly compensated. And that means not just a decent wage, but also access to benefits such as health care and a pension.
So we want to keep them in their homes, and this government has implemented things like the Aging Well at Home grant. It's just $400 a year, and I've pledged to increase that to $800 a year. And the caregiver benefit, which is $400 a month, we've done that, and I've pledged to increase that to $800 a month. That's important money to allow individuals and seniors to stay in their homes and in their communities where they want to go as they age.
Some flavor from last night around the seniors discussion from the leaders' debate, right? The big part of the conversation is for folks to stay in their homes longer. You had started with PC leader Tony Wakeham there, NDP leader Jim Dinn, and Liberal leader John Hogan. So that's the discussion from the politicians. Let's bring it down in here to the studio. So like I said, I've got a full house, and we're also calling folks right across Newfoundland and Labrador for today. But if you're listening to this show and if you've got your own thoughts on seniors issues, if you're a senior with your own thoughts around or questions or comments around perhaps you haven't heard what you want to hear or just thoughts on the election campaign from each of the parties right now, the signal at cbc.ca is the email. The text line is open, 709-327-8206. With us, Mary Martin, founder of SOS Support Our Seniors. How you doing?
Great, thank you.
Thanks for coming in. Long time no see. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks. Yes.
How's everything? How's everything going?
Well, pretty good. Myself and Mary Moylan were having coffee one day, and we were talking about how expensive it is for seniors, with all the costs of medications and batteries for hearing aids. Anyway, we decided to start Support Our Seniors. And our logo is a life preserver tossed out on the waves because we wanted to help seniors. Anyway, we had a couple of town hall meetings, and we did get people right across the island. But the idea was to highlight the harm and the trouble that people were having, seniors were having, making ends meet and finding good accommodation. So that was about early 2019. And, we had a lot of support. And during that time, we sent letters to the Prime Minister and all the ministers, federal, and we sent the same thing to all the premiers, provincial premiers. And we had a petition in the House of Assembly. Bernie Davis presented it, but it was, generally to talk about improving seniors' health and giving them some in-home support, which now they are talking about doing. But why does it have to be an election? Why do they have to be forced? I would like your vote, so I'll give you $500. Don't matter that you worked all your life. That doesn't matter. I'd like your vote. Anyway, Mary Moylan couldn't be here today, but she's the real advocate for seniors. And I don't know if you want me to continue.
No, I think it's a great start. I'll continue around the table, and then we'll come back. And yeah, Mary Moylan I've interviewed a number of times.
She's
over the
she's
years.
very eloquent.
Very good. Well, you're doing great. You're both very eloquent and doing a great job. As I continue the circle around the table, Kimberly Leonard is here, CEO Seniors NL. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So, long time no see. Well, nice to see you again. As we jump off, right? As the CEO of Seniors NL, what's your biggest thought for around issues when it comes to the election?
Well, I was listening to the debate last night, and I just want to say that aging well in the right place, whether that's at home or the place that's right for them in their communities, is a top priority that we're hearing from with seniors across the province. The Age Well at Home grant and, the home modification programs and the caregiver benefits that the last 4 years have implemented on behalf of the government has been a great initiative. And seniors are wanting to see more of that. And as Premier John Hogan mentioned last night, that if elected, they will be looking at increasing those, and that's what we're looking at on behalf of seniors.
All right, thank you for that opener. Ron Taylor's back again, Director of Strategy for Connections for Seniors. Hey, Ron, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Thanks for coming back in, man. Where's your head right now for this election?
I was watching the debate last night, and Jim Dim pointed out a couple living in St. John's, paying about $1,200 a month in rent, have found themselves their rent's going up to about $1,800. So they're basically being evicted out of their home because they can't afford the rent increase. And they're actually having to move to Placentia, which is about 2 hours away, because that's the closest place they can find where there's affordable rent. And I think that housing is the biggest, one of the biggest issues that's facing seniors here today. Because, the reality is that if you've got $4,000 to $6,000 a month, there's all kinds of places you can stay in St. John's. But if you're the average senior that's worked hard your whole life, you paid your taxes, you stayed out of trouble, you were good community members, now all of a sudden you find yourself that you're living on a couple $1,000s a year, and your landlords look at you saying, we want all of it.
Yeah.
Just for your rent. So I think that we have to really take into consideration that housing is a huge issue, and it's an opportunity. We're presently ourselves, as an organization, we're actually building affordable housing here in the city because we don't see that the politicians are scaling up quick enough. And right now, we've got 4 different projects on the go across Newfoundland and Labrador. The one that we're starting this month on Alexander Street, that's 60 units for affordable units for seniors, which are fully accessible. And when we say affordable, it's $800 a month for a brand new build a unit, so that seniors can age well in their communities.
Yeah, actually affordable.
Yeah, because the thing is this, is that, and I was talking to Mary about this when we were sitting outside, is that if we spend a few $1,000s a year to support seniors to stay in their homes, give them the kind of supports they need, all right, they don't have to go into care. Yeah. And care is $60,000 to $80,000 a year. So why would you allow someone that's perfectly capable, that's healthy, that's mobile, to end up in care because you're not giving them the proper supports to keep them at home? So that's kind of one of the biggest things there for us.
Great opener as well. Brian Shortall is also back, retired educator. We're not talking about bridge today from a previous show. So thanks again for that show. It was a lot of fun. What are your thoughts for this opener around seniors' issues for the election?
Well, I too listened to the debate last evening, and I've spent most of my life working with children and working in schools. And in schools, the kindergarten to grade 12 system, the main objective is to help children seek full self-fulfillment, to learn themselves, become self-fulfilled so they can enjoy completely happy lives. Then they graduate from grade 12, go on to post-secondary, their work, their lives, their families, and so forth. But our responsibility as a society doesn't end when they leave the public education system. All of us need assistance to achieve self-fulfillment in all kinds of different ways. And as previous speakers have mentioned today, for seniors, these ways are very unique. Many of them are on fixed incomes because of their pensions. They've been on set for a number of years and they have challenges. Some are lonely, some are not well, some are pressured in all kinds of basic ways: security, safety, health, right to live, comfort, and they need assistance. And we need a government and we need programs that are going to help them build better communities of seniors so they can get the strength from working with their friends and colleagues, share their problems, and find opportunities that they can continue to have self-fulfilled lives, whether it's in bridge or social activities, whether it's in a group to help them maintain their fitness or learn to live better, whether it's to find assistance in coping with conflict. There's all kinds of ways we can put structure in place to help.
Who wants to do? So go ahead, and then we'll one, then two. Go ahead.
Like Brian, I'm a former educator and principal of a school, so my mandate was certainly helping support families and their children and making a difference in their lives. And now at Seniors NL, I'm getting to take over that in the next chapter, which is very rewarding. And as you were saying, we need these programs and assistance supports and services in place for seniors so that they can age well. They've worked their whole lives, and now they're at a point where they want to enjoy their home and their communities and move forward with that. And the more programs and financial assistance that we can have to make them be comfortable and safe in their own surroundings, that's a plus. And we've started implementing some of these in the province over the past 4 years, and I think building on this momentum and making it even better so that more and more seniors can avail of these programs and services would definitely be a step in the right direction.
Thanks. Mary Martin.
Yep. Well, I live in a seniors apartment building. It was initially built for the war vets. It's a 2-story building in Pleasantville.
Okay.
It's called Caribou Legion Manor.
Right.
So it's a very nice building with beautiful grounds. We have a greenhouse where we're going to grow our own vegetables. But as part of that, we have a committee, 4 of us, and we have healthy aging. So we get different people to come in. Like today we had yoga, and we have people come in and sing, and people get out and dance, and we have different people do, somebody will come in and do like storytelling. So it keeps people busy. And we also have darts and bingo. So it's, all that. But we don't get any money for it. I'll have to call Bernie. Probably no.
Yeah, no, I mean, one of the big things we're advocating, right, it is calling your MHAs. It is calling the folks who are in the decision, whether it's your MP or MHA or your ward councillor, whatever, right? Like this is part, and quite the time to be calling folks when voting day is just around the corner.
That's right.
Right? To get those points across. Here's something from last December. Here's the headline. Seniors in NL doing poorly compared to the rest of Canada, says Seniors Advocate in new report. So this was from the Seniors Advocate Walsh last year. And the other point, people over 65. So for last December, people over 65 making up nearly a quarter of this province's population. Yeah. And as we all know, right, demographics-wise, that's increasing, right? Like we've got a real demographics thing here in this province for the aging population. I think a lot about vision. So we talked about programs. So we've talked about everything from, just like you said, programs like so yoga and that kind of thing for where you're living. The bigger, broader programs as well for Seniors NL. Brian kind of mentioned that community bit there too. What kind of vision and rethink do we need in this province for where things are headed? And I think it touches a bit on, or not a bit, a lot on community. But what kind of thoughts do you have on this?
Well, as we know, we have an aging population, and I'm not sure if everybody is aware of Stats Canada's news release that came out on September 25th that indicated over 25% of our province's population is 65 and older.
That's what I was looking for. I couldn't find it this morning.
Making us the first province in Canada to cross what we called a golden age threshold. And just to add to that, according to Stats Canada, this is the first time in history that any province or territory has achieved this age distinction, and that's what we have in Newfoundland and Labrador, an aging population, and we know that comes with its complex issues and increasing challenges. Yes. So for us, the rising cost of living is huge, which housing is tied into that and everything, because those who are living on fixed incomes and only have their OAS and their CPP to fall back on, they're hit hard as the price of food, housing, utilities and medications keeps going up. So people are having to find the balance between what do they do, pay for their rent or their mortgage with very little left over to pay for food. They're falling back on their utility bills, and sometimes they can't fill their medications. So that is huge in moving forward. So the rising cost of living is really an area that we need to center on because that's where everything falls.
So then are we hearing the vision from, and it's all three parties, are we hearing the broad vision of how to change and adapt to what this reality is and how things are changing? Are we getting?
No.
Yeah. Well, we're all familiar with the internet.
Yeah.
We entertain ourselves at home and turn on our televisions. But it's a way that we can reach out. It's a way that we can reach out and contact seniors. Yeah. Not everybody is able to use the internet and understands exactly how to get the most out of it. So we perhaps need programs to work with seniors who worked so long in their lives without the internet and without the digital world, the organizations of information, to give them an opportunity to make sure they can have robust connections, good equipment, have the skills necessary to do very simple things. But it would enable them to go on YouTube and find how to do a hobby that they're particularly interested in. It would enable them to find out that there's 5 or 6 other people in the area close to where they live who collect stamps. Yeah. And they could talk about that and do something. So it doesn't have to be real dramatic as necessary as you're outlining, but in many, many small ways. People are lonely, people don't have the skills they need, and we can easily provide them these days if we organize ourselves to do it and give them the means to receive the information.
Yeah. Ron, you were going to say?
Yeah, there's a great points because social isolation is huge. People that as they get older and their friends move away or something like that, or they're less mobile, but social isolation and the digital divide that you just talked about is that how do we we talk about services, all right, but a lot of the services are centered in urban areas. All right. So we have a distinction in our population here is half of our population lives outside the urban areas, which is very unusual in Canada. Most people live within the urban areas, 70% in some provinces. So when we think about seniors and how do we connect them is that a lot of seniors say are walking around with smartphones. They don't use them, but they have them. So we've kind of, Mohammed and I, we were sitting here with you last time, and we said, think about what Adam's doing here, the outreach that reached the whole province. It's in St. John's, but it's reaching the whole province. Why don't we do that? Yeah. So we're in the middle of building a podcasting studio at Connection for Seniors. We do that. And we're in the middle of creating a app that seniors can use on their phones to try to pull in all the services in one area so they can have access, because you got to make it easy. All right, it's like we assume sometimes, well, go here, go there. So the idea is to connect people so that they are not isolated and they're properly supported.
Yeah, man, look, if it's complicated, I'm not doing it. I'm not a senior. If it's complicated, you don't got me. Go ahead.
Excellent points here. Digital literacy is among the top priorities as well. We hear from seniors all the time. They're dropping into the office, calling our information and referral service to help them with applications, help them connect, help them. Social isolation is huge. And as part of the family care teams here in Newfoundland and Labrador, Seniors NL has taken on a social prescribing project that is huge across Canada, and it combats loneliness and social isolation. And we work with the physicians to get referrals to go through that program, which is really well. We have link workers situated all across the province, and it's gaining momentum and gaining more. And also with that, we have a Pan-Canadian Collective Impact Project coming up for the next 4 years, starting in November. And part of that, we're setting aside funds to help Digital Seniors NL to get started and established, so that we did have techno tutors, but they're no more. So we are going to replace it with that, so that technology services are readily available for seniors province-wide.
Mary, you're going to say,
Yes, one of the things I was going to mention was techno tutors, because they will come and help a group. But the other thing was, there's so much information on YouTube like McMaster University, they publish all this information about arthritis and pain and like dementia, what's the difference in dementia and normal aging, all kinds of everything, like if you got bad toes or anything, and you can put it on YouTube and watch it, like if you were connected.
Yeah, there's so much information available. Okay, when you said the first thing you said, there's this huge amount of
Oh
information.
yeah, but you have to have a reliable source. Obviously, you're not going to,
So how do we park it so that we're talking about issues that are closer to home?
Yeah.
Versus, nationally, globally. Because, when we talk about our own little part of the world here, there's a little bit more than 500,000 of us. And I think we need to bring things down to earth so it's easy to use. That it's not complex. It's not like, it's like, I'll do a search on seniors and 30 million hits come up. Like, where do you start?
Oh, you'd have to have some kind of a closed thing. You wouldn't be just looking
aggravated
for
information, things that are based in for Newfoundland, especially for the Newfoundland and Labrador communities and connections, and having folks understand, well, here's what's next to me, what's available to me in this next community, what am I looking for? Is it isolation? Is it home care? Is it what is it that I need? But before and we'll keep this conversation going, obviously, but Leo Bonnell is on the line, a retired banker in Clarenville. Leo, how you doing?
I'm doing great, sir.
Thank you for coming on the show. We're talking about the upcoming provincial election next week. We were talking about the leaders' debate last night. We're digging into some seniors' issues in this province for Newfoundland and Labrador. From your seat in Clarenville, what's top of mind for you for issues that you want to hear, that you want kind of aired so that people can think about to try to solve and push forward?
Yeah, well, in my various roles throughout the province, Newfoundland and Labrador, I interact with a lot of seniors throughout the whole province, and I find that there are some common themes. Many lower and middle-income seniors continue to struggle to afford their basic needs. The availability of affordable housing. There's just a shortage sort of thing. The rising cost of living, the healthcare issues, wait time for specialized medical procedures, those people who live outside of the city, long waits, there's a lack of home care supports, particularly in rural areas. There's some difficulty in trying to find people or home care workers, and so these are all financial struggles that negatively impact health outcomes. And then, of course, you've got to look at the social isolation aspect. Many seniors today live alone. Their family have moved, or they've just got no family. People are living longer, as we all know, and they've just been outlived. They've outlived their friends, their family members. And the other thing that, of course, that I'm heavily involved with is this whole piece on frauds and scams. Some people have reached an epidemic level. The seniors that's, as I say, born in another generation. I mean, they're real targets for scammers. And technology today has allowed a growing pathway in financial affairs of many, many older people. Then we got the issue of what I'm hearing right around this province is that rents continue to rise for many seniors living in retirement units and seniors' cottages. Just a few days ago, I heard of a case where their rents are going up as much as $200 a month.
Right.
And that's, there's obviously a need for government to bring in a form of rent control legislation, as some other provinces have done. These are real impacts. And, I also look at, we live in a digital age, and it's a challenge for many seniors, to protect themselves from said earlier, the frauds and scams, and that should be a major focus for government at all levels.
So then, Leo, with everything you're laying out, because it's like from the tech side of it to some of the scams, especially with like AI coming on now, plus the cost of living, rent, the rural-urban divide, the realities of rural communities. Like when you think of all of that, how do you think? Like, last question for you, because we've got a few other folks coming on the line now. How should government how should they approach trying to help seniors?
Well, obviously there has, as I said, maybe the rent control would certainly help there, and obviously there are people that are living pretty much near the poverty line, so maybe some additional financial supports for seniors. I agree with the aging place concept. But as I said earlier, we need well-trained home care workers. We need a good base of that, and to help seniors. I also want to make the point too that we tend today to really look at today's seniors, and while that's certainly important, I'm always of the opinion that we've got to look at the senior of tomorrow and programs and initiatives by government in place, so that we have a well-educated, a well-trained workforce, so that they're better able to look after themselves in years to come.
Leo Bonnell, I appreciate your time. Thanks for the injection into this great conversation, ongoing one that we're having here on the show today.
Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye.
Cheers. Leo Bonnell there in Clarenville. We'll a quick whip around before our next call that we've got arranged. Kimberly Leonard, CEO Seniors NL, just your thoughts. Anything stick out there for you?
Well, rising rent is a concern for those, especially living on fixed income. And we're seeing an increase in that, in the calls that we're getting from Seniors NL, as well as the eviction notices from landlords where they're raising the rent and they have a limited amount of time to get out. But the problem for these tenants is they have nowhere affordable to go.
How many? How much of that are you hearing?
Well, we're hearing 20% of that. But what I'm saying is that we're starting to refer to shelters more so than we've ever had before, which is concerning. But also those people who own their homes are finding it difficult for upkeep and so forth. But what I'm thinking that we're needing is that, of course, more affordable housing options, because when they get evicted, because they're not paying their rent, they can't afford to pay that. There's nowhere else affordable for them to go.
No.
So initiatives like Ron and Connections for Seniors are taking on or a step in the right direction, but we need more of that. And I think stronger rent supports and, more regulations around landlord, raising rent and everything, more subsidy programs. And another thing that we thought that we would really avail off at Seniors NL is that when these people come to us, we are information and referral, but if we had more immediate access to housing support workers for those who don't fall under the category of chronic homelessness.
Right.
Because not everyone is chronic homeless, right? So if they had, access to immediate support workers, especially on the Avalon, because I know they're across the island, that would alleviate some of the concerns and the stress that people are going through at that particular time.
Yeah, as opposed to, like you said, you're hearing about seniors who can't afford their rent, being evicted. There's nowhere else that they can afford, and they end up in shelters
God, that's terrible.
in Newfoundland and Labrador.
And we are Seniors NL, so that's what they call us for. We're information and referral, so we can connect them to the services and programs and supports that are available. But there are limited housing, affordable options, in the area.
So then, and I've got to go to we're going to go to Cathy Bishop in Bonavista in just 1 minute. So then this question, and Ron, I'll go to you on this. Like to circle back to last night and the debate, but for what we just heard, and then you hear about how the politicians are talking about it. Is there a link here, or is there a disconnect, or what do you think about the flavor of the discussion from politicians compared to some of the reality for seniors in this province?
I think there's a disconnect. I believe that they're not fully aware of some of the challenges that are out there. Kimberly talked about the type of people that are becoming homeless. We're having former professionals showing up at our shelters that have been renovated from their homes. And then there's the silent majority, the senior that's living on their own, in their own little apartment, and during the winter they got to choose whether they're going to heat their place or eat.
Yeah, and that's a
there's lot of
real
that
thing,
going-
right?
that's
We
real.
talk about it like a lot. That's the example that gets used, but it gets used because it is real.
Yeah, and I think that the housing is a big part of it. The supports that Mary talked about is a big part of it. Leo even touched on the importance of providing employment training. People don't stop working when they're 65. Some do. A lot of people keep working until they're 70s and 80s. I mean, in this room here, we've got people that are still working. Okay, that theoretically should have retired a few years ago, but that's not the case.
Let me bring Cathy Bishop into this conversation, then we'll go back in here to the room to get some more perspective. Cathy Bishop is on the line from Bonavista, co-chair for the Saltwater Community Association. Hello, Cathy.
Hi, Adam. How are you today?
I'm doing okay. How are you doing in Bonavista? How are things?
Well, I'm surviving out here.
What's on your mind when it comes to seniors and in and around Bonavista? I mean, you folks with Saltwater are very strong advocates for your community. So what are you thinking about when it comes to this provincial election and seniors?
Well, for lack of time, my two issues would probably be the doctors. And as I say that, this whole week, from October 6th to October the 10th, our ER at the Bonavista Hospital was on virtual care. So there was no doctor over there. So if you went, you had to see a doctor on a screen, and they couldn't assess you if you had any issues that they needed to physically see you for something. So then you had to make your way an hour and a half out the highway to Clarenville. So that's been an ongoing issue, like for us for many years now, with no doctors. And I heard the politicians last night. I listened to the debate. I hear them all go on and on. We're going to get more doctors. We're going to get more doctors. And it's white noise to me. That I'm sick of hearing it. I've heard it over and over again, and I'm not blaming any one particular party. They're all the same. I don't know how one party is going to say they're going to give us doctors when another one that's in power right now can't get us doctors. So and the other issue for me would be the housing.
Yeah.
Now, out here, housing's been a struggle for many people, and especially seniors. We have seniors living in their big house that they had years ago when they had their big families, and they can't afford them. They can't afford the maintenance on them. They want to downsize, but they have nowhere to go. There is no seniors places out here, and I know that some people are trying to build them and trying to do affordable housing, but it's the red tape involved that takes so long to get anything done. It's like pulling teeth to get anything done, right? So that's probably my issues is, and a lot of these people are proud people. They don't want to reach out and say, I need help. So they struggle in silence. You don't know about them until they're dire in need. And right now we don't even have a food bank out here. Our food bank closed, and we don't even have a food bank to help those senior people who are struggling. The winter
and
is
you
coming.
folks with your food bank, you were doing I remember for covering it. You were doing a very wide geographic area for hampered deliveries, were you not?
We had funding for that, yes. Saltwater did have funding for that, and we went during COVID. Yes, we did far and wide for with helping people during COVID with that, and there is no funding available for that right now. So, and our food bank unfortunately closed down in May of last year, this past May, and it was supposed to open up in September again. But nobody's come forward and it takes a village. It takes a lot of people to run that, to operate that kind of thing, and a lot of community business support. You need to get a lot of people behind you to do this. So winter is coming, and those seniors are going to live in their big house. And it's, do I pay my heat bill for this big house, or do I buy groceries?
Yeah.
And on a weekly basis, we have people that reach out to us and say, I got no food.
Right.
I got no food. What am I going to do? Come at
And the food bank's closed. Right.
And Bonavista is, the population of Bonavista is mostly seniors.
Yeah.
That's who lives out here. The senior people who don't know anywhere else. They've lived in Bonavista their whole lives. They don't want to move out of Bonavista.
Yeah.
And so they shouldn't have to. They shouldn't have to go to St. John's all of a sudden because there's a place available in St. John's.
No,
So,
it comes down to
and
aging in
for
place.
us too, it's very we're a very touristy town. So the short-term rental issue is definitely people are changing their places into short-term rentals. They can make more in opening up half the year. And now people are starting, that tourist season is over. They're going to open up their short-term rentals and open it up for long-term rental, but only until May.
Yeah.
Because then they want to switch back over to short-term rental in May. That doesn't help anybody when okay, well, I got a place for a couple of months, but in May, where am I going to go in May?
Yeah.
So that's not really helping anybody.
Cathy Bishop, a lot there, and I appreciate you coming back on the show as always. So thank you very much, and we'll stay in touch, obviously, but thank you for today.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity, Adam.
All right, cheers. Cathy Bishop.
Okay, you have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
We'll go to Brian Shortall. Brian, you were nodding a lot there. The thoughts?
Well, we have huge problems, but we also have resources. Seniors in our province built where we are today. They paid their taxes, they organized, they built. There's a residual battery of skill sets right across Newfoundland and Labrador.
Yeah.
Many of the programs that we're talking about today are multi-million-dollar programs and very complex and require a lot of heavy investment. But at the local level, we have a lot of skills that we're really not connecting to. And we can do this in simple ways. We can do it small. We can do it through recreational things. We can do it through reaching out, bringing people together. But often what is needed is a few seed dollars just to get these kinds of organizations underway. So we're not looking at multi-billions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars at a stab, but you're looking at perhaps the creative creation of connections between seniors amongst themselves so that they can identify their own needs and find some ways and means to help each other.
And this, we're talking generation that like you said, built the place, knew what it was to volunteer, knew what it was to have whether it's your Lions clubs, your Elks clubs, your everything else club, it was all about connection, volunteering. And so to have all those folks across the province just with, like you said, maybe it's seed money or something else, but just a little bit of something because when things are complicated, there could be a number of different ways you start to tackle it, from the really big thing to the smaller one. We've got Amy Farrell on the line from Marystown. How are you doing, Amy?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for coming on the program. Tell folks about you're is it first vice president in the NL 50 Plus Federation, is it?
Yes, it is.
All right. Who does that represent?
Well, actually, I'll just give you a little briefing.
Sure.
The Newfoundland and Labrador 50 Plus Federation is a registered nonprofit organization in Newfoundland and Labrador. We are a charitable organization, which is the umbrella for 130 clubs with approximately 7,000 seniors all over Newfoundland and Labrador.
All right, so that's a big number of folks. What when you think of the election, what are you hearing from these thousands of people across Newfoundland and Labrador?
Well, one of the biggest issues that we find is the cost of living within Newfoundland and Labrador, and the other one would be the health care. So I'll just touch bases a little bit with the cost of living. Like we all know, seniors are on a fixed income. So if you are a senior and your monthly income is only OAS and GIS, it is a big struggle to make ends meet from month to month.
Yeah, so that's old age security and what's the acronym for GIS?
The guaranteed income supplement.
Yep.
Yes. So, like, we have, like, seniors that are living in their own home. One big issue is oil prices, and most of the older homes are oil heated, of course.
Right.
Like, the oil prices are through the roof. Like, grocery prices are increasing from week to week. And not only that, but like seniors, they have their medications they have to purchase. We have house insurance, light bill, phone bill, and a cable bill, plus your property tax, your water and sewer, and maintenance whenever it is needed, of course. And if those seniors, like, have no family living close by, and if they need to go to their appointments grocery, they have to hire a taxi to take them to their appointments. So not only these items, but as seniors living alone too, like, socialization and loneliness is also a big factor. And so what we are hearing from seniors are, especially in winter months, which is a very difficult time for seniors, they have to make a decision sometimes. Like, will I buy oil to keep myself warm? Or will I not pick up my medications? Or will I not pay the light bill? So these things provide, like, a very financial hardship. And it's very difficult for our seniors to deal with on a limited income, of course.
Mm. So then, go ahead. Yeah.
No, what we're also saying is, like, can the oil prices be controlled or regulated, or, can the constant increases in groceries be managed? Because from week to week, you go to the grocery stores and there's $1 added on this side, another $1 added on something else. And like we said, most importantly of all, can the old age security and the GIS, can these amounts be increased to help our seniors have a bit more money coming in through the month and to help them to get through, the financial bind that they are in most of the time.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Yeah. No, what we also thought, and I've been thinking about this, like, there is an old saying, that you never know what someone else is experiencing until you walk a mile in their shoes. So we are issuing our seniors a challenge to our government leaders to live 1 month on the income that is, again, old age security and GIS, that a senior has to survive on from month to month.
Well, that's quite the challenge that you're issuing, and do let me know if folks take you up, if some of the politicians take you up on that, because I would be very interested in hearing their perspective afterwards. Amy Farrell, I could talk to you for the rest of the show if I could, but I've got someone else on the line I need to get to. I just want to say thank you so much for that perspective, and also for stating that challenge.
I totally understand, and thank you very, very much. I really appreciate the time to chat with you as well.
All right, cheers. You have a good one. Amy Farrell there, First Vice President, NL50 Plus Federation. So for the folks here in studio, if you have thoughts, we're going to pin that for 1 second. The last call for the show before we do another whip around of all the thoughts from the folks here in studio. Bev Adam is on the line from Labrador West. Hello, Bev.
Hello.
We've heard a lot about housing, cost of living on the show today, seniors wanting to age in place. We've talked about the debate last night and what politicians are saying. I've had Labrador West on my mind a lot in recent months because it is a bit of a special part of the province with what you folks are dealing with when it comes to housing. I'm just wondering if you could talk about some of the issues facing seniors there, because, like, for instance, we've talked about seniors moving in from rural parts of the island to St. John's. I've also had folks talk to me about having seniors to leave Labrador West when they want to stay in their community and come down to places like St. John's when they're trying to find housing. I'm just wondering if you could elaborate on some of this.
It's really nice. Been listening to the conversations before my opportunity to speak, but I have to say I'm being reminded of feeling like a forgotten Labrador resident because the people before have so many other places. They're so very fortunate to have places to move to when it's needed. So I'm already very emotional. I'm passionate about Labrador West. I'm jealous and mad and sad at the same time. I'm jealous of those in my province who have those to avail of. I'm mad that Labrador West doesn't have any of this to avail of. And I'm sad that we possibly could never have it.
Yeah.
And my biggest concern as a senior, my husband and myself, Bruce has lived here since 1963. I have lived here since 1961. This is our home. We, like any other senior, want to stay here too. But, as long as we don't have any seniors' cottages, we have none here. We don't have any seniors' condos, and there's no senior care in that regard.
For everything you're saying, Bev, with this provincial election, has any politician, has anyone given you any amount of anything to hope for, to look for looking at how to turn, a mining town that's really developed into a hometown over the years for folks? Yeah. Is there anything with forward looking here for that you've heard?
All three have brought all of these up, but having it come to fruition, we'll see if that's going to happen or not. Yeah, so of course I'm hopeful, but we have to wait and see if it's going to happen or not for us. Because time is, so many of them here are running out of time, because so many people, decades ago, when my dad retired from ILC, that was back in the early 80s, people left here. That's in Lab City and Wabush. People now stay here. We have so many seniors living here. I know in Newfoundland and places like that, it's quite normal to have 4 and 5 generations. We have many families here who have 4 generations still here. And we all want to live where we love, and especially around family.
So well put, Bev.
Thank you. I love it here.
Yeah, I could hear the love for your community, and I think anyone listening across Newfoundland and Labrador can connect with what you're saying. Thank you. We will stay in touch. Stay in touch with us on this too. I appreciate you coming on the show and sharing the Lab West perspective.
Okay, thank you. I just wish I had more time. I'm going to have to do an email and send off to who?
Well, adam.walsh@cbc.ca, and I'll get Arlette. We'll go back on the phone with you to make sure you have both of our phone numbers, because the conversation always continues here on The Signal, and we're doing this show now. We will not stop doing issues and shows about seniors and what affects folks, and also we will not stop doing shows about people and what the issues are in Labrador West. So you will be back on, I promise.
Thank you so very much.
Cheers. Bev Adam there, Lab West. 2 emails just came in. Over 130 50-plus groups in the province. Government deals with 50-plus groups. Large social group in Mount Pearl. None in St. John's. City of St. John's Muse and Reynolds Centre programs are sold out immediately. Really need some people to step up and start a 50-plus in St. John's. That is from Susan. Also from a caller, Mr. Richard Whitaker of Portugal Cove. Let me see. Dick says on the leadership debate, really disappointed from the leaders in the debate. There was not a single thing about the environment. As a senior, my biggest concern is what we are leaving to our kids and grandchildren. Mr. Whitaker, thank you as always for that point. Back here in studio, as we're kind of getting down there in the show, Brian Shortall had to duck out for an appointment, which we knew about at the start of it. So thank you, Brian. I'll just say, as you're in your car, probably listen to the tail end of this show. Ron, we'll go right to left. A whole lot to think about with all from the callers and the emails, but thoughts from you on some of this?
I think that the conversation has to happen outside of elections. It has to be a continuing conversation.
A full year thing, yeah, of course.
And also, too, is that let's be realistic about what government can and can't do. Yeah. And let's, as a community, let's reach out to the government saying, we want to partner with you. We want to work on the solutions with you together. I think everybody has to pitch in. Yeah. And come up with some of those solutions, because that's the only way we're going to deal with housing. That's the only way we're going to deal with community support services and all of the other kind of supports that are required for seniors. And I think that if you look at our organization, Connections for Seniors, we're building affordable housing. Yeah, we're going to build a studio so that we can connect people. So it can't always be government, what are you going to do? I think it's more of an opportunity for us to say to them, here are some things that we need to address. We're willing to come aboard and meet with you one-on-one and develop these long-term solutions for that. So sit down with us and have the conversations day to day, not just during an election.
Mary Marion, what about yourself on this?
Yes, I agree with that. And government has to fund it. You guys can't come up with the money. just a couple of things. One is that when we were doing research back in 2019, 2020, a lot of the research that we did, and you go back into all the studies that have been done in Ottawa and by the Canadian Council on Poverty, several of them showed the people who are making recommendations as to what the GIC, the Guaranteed Income Supplement, GIS, should be, and the CPP, you know, they are people who are making $200,000 a year. So when they're recommending that, you should only get, I don't know, 11,000 or 9,000, they have no idea what 9,000 is. You know, I'm just picking at 9,000, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, totally.
You know, they're way up there, and they're saying, oh, well, that's all you need is 9,000 or 7,000.
Well, it comes to the Amy Farrell pitch, right? Of like, hey, politicians, like, live on what we're living on here to experience it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's,
well, we
it
tried
touches
that
on
too.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, that's one thing. And when Trudeau was in, he changed what you could make. If a senior was, you could make $5,000 a year, and it wouldn't affect your guaranteed income supplement. Well, now apparently they've changed that. Right?
Yeah, the threshold has it's gone up, but it's a very important thing because the seniors that want to work, sometimes they can't
So
because
they
of the tax
took that
implications.
away, and that was an election ploy.
All right.
Anyway,
And,
that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Kimberly Leonard, CEO of Seniors NL.
So I just want to say that we need to reiterate the fact that seniors are the largest and fastest growing population in Newfoundland and Labrador. And as Bev and everybody else said here today, they want to age in their own places and they want to age well. They are in their communities that they love, and it's very dear to them. So I think actions needed moving forward is that we need to continue to find ways to reduce the high cost of living. That's huge. You know, increase and expand programs like the caregiver benefit and the Age Well at Home grant, the home modifications program, and broaden the eligibility really, really high so that more seniors and caregivers can access these supports and not like just have it for one group of the sector. We need to revisit the amounts being paid out in the OAS and the CPP because it's simply not enough for people to live on, those who are just, you know, falling back on that amount. We need to invest in programs that promote and support social inclusion and connection. And these 50-plus clubs are doing a fabulous job, and yes, we need more of them. And continue to support initiatives that build community and improve mental well-being. So in looking ahead on you know, behalf of Seniors NL and the seniors we're hearing from, we need a government that will continue to listen and engage with them, not just during election time. They need to continue to show compassion and determination and be true to seniors in the province. Collaborate with the senior sector and the organizations that support them so we can strengthen the programs together and ensure long-term sustainability. And so from that, I think we need to keep the momentum going so that more seniors can benefit from the supports that are already in place, but let's build on that and let's have more so that we can create the beautiful place that seniors want to be in our province.
Excellent. Thank you so much. We've got 30 seconds left. Any final thought from anyone else with 30 seconds?
Great conversations today.
Yeah.
Great to hear. And again, you know what? It's great that you did it province-wide because there's three new Newfoundlands. There's the Greater St. John's area, there's rural Newfoundland, and there's Labrador, and they're very different.
Yeah. Especially Labrador, because they don't get as much coverage. And you're really good talking so much, you know. You have so much knowledge as seniors. It's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, Kimberly did a great
Seniors
job.
are true to me. They're my passion. So we'll work together and create the change that we need to make.
That's right.
Well, folks, we're out of time. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for having this discussion. Everyone else, if you have thoughts for us for the show, the signal at cbc.ca for emails. Tomorrow, we will speak with some groups, folks who feel they haven't heard enough concrete answers from politicians on election issues. So we'll talk some issues, and we'll talk possible solutions and where folks want things to go. And how do you feel about what you've heard from politicians so far through this election campaign for the province with the election just next week? The signal at cbc.ca. Send us a note. I'll read it on the show tomorrow, and we'll do it all again tomorrow. So until then, thanks for listening. Cheers.